just kind of speaking to the wider culture of what's been happening with Man United. Every single week there is a news story of not greatly positive news coming out of the North. They're allegedly in talks with Gotham FC over a loan deal for Geyse. This comes after her Instagram post about feeling lonely and unhappy at the club. She said, every day seems heavier and the simple fact of being there becomes a burden. The environment which should be welcoming becomes a field of discomfort where inner peace is difficult to find. When we are not in tune with what surrounds us, the world around us loses its colour and energy. Man United were accused by her agent of trying to loan her out to clubs in the United States while she attended her brother's funeral. It doesn't feel like news like this is completely unexpected from Man United. We have seen a lot of this kind of there's a shadow over Man United, and it's been there for quite a while. It's been there since Man United started letting players go on a free, or moving them to temporary facilities, or
players coming out after they've left.
Literally, we've seen so many players come out and say, actually, the culture there wasn't great. I wasn't happy there for all kinds of different reasons, and it kind of all leads to this ingrained cultural issue that seems to sit around the club, that the players aren't happy. And it's no surprise. I mean, every single week we're reading more and more news about something Jim Ratcliffe has done. I mean, even a couple of weeks ago we had, what was it, that Jim Ratcliffe was asking former club captain Katie Zellum what she did when she gave him a tour of the ground. And it just feels a bit relentless. And I just think, like, when things like that happen, how much of it starts to impact the players at the club, the girls' academy at the club, the staff who are at the club, who are all trying to build something special. And credit to them for where they are in the league, given all the issues that exist around the culture. I mean, that's massive credit to them, because overriding everything that's happened at the top level, the ownership, how they feel about the club, they've made no bones about the fact that they really don't care that much. And I think that, for me, I mean, I'm not surprised if players want to leave, players want to go elsewhere, players speak up about these things, and you start to see the big players, go elsewhere, essentially, which will affect the fandom. And they're not getting shed tons of fans at Lee Sports Village, which is already quite hard to sell tickets to, given where it's located.
I think time and again we see women's football players, female athletes achieving and striving in spite of many obstacles. And that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case in Manchester United, but the players on the pitch are achieving and playing well and doing well in spite of all the noise. And that should not happen. I think it's a concerning trend that is emerging from Manchester United. I think they need to get better at addressing these situations in terms of responding to them, speaking to the media, speaking to their fans, trying to shed a light on what's going on, improve what's going on. I think when you kind of leave a void of any kind of feedback, it will be filled with noise and it will be filled with people's opinions, and you lose control over, the narrative of it. And it just feels a bit like it comes back to that kind of how much care is put into that. So I think that's a big concern. I think if you're going to be a team that is wanting to strive to be in every competition and to play Champions League, you're going to have a big squad. You need to be able to manage a big squad, and player management is a huge part of that. And it's something that needs to improve to a degree, clearly, at Manchester United, because we wouldn't have so many players coming out and speaking out if all of that was going smoothly. And I respect that some managers are good at some things, some managers are good at other things. You look at Emma Hayes and the squad she had and how she had to keep everybody happy. And from the outside, it looked like she was able to do that. I think more needs to be done to improve that side of it at Manchester United, because it is becoming a worrying theme.
I think it all kind of leads into player welfare and the fact that players get to a situation where they speak out publicly. Now, that often doesn't happen. Like, from my experience,
that takes a lot.
Doesn't happen unless a player gets to a point where they're really at breaking point and something happens, which is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back. So it's not a case of players just, having a bit of a moan about something that might have gone on, and it's been happening for a couple of weeks. Like, this is something that's obviously been quite a long-standing issue, I'd say. I mean, I can only say based on my experience, obviously, I don't know what's actually happened behind the scenes, but it's very rare that you find players who will speak up unless this has been on their minds and has been an issue for a long time, which it kind of feels like that's the last port of call. You have to go public because nothing's changing. Mark Skidder has said that he feels a sadness for Jay-Z's words. He said, "We will find a solution that suits both parties and we'll make sure during that time that Jay-Z is supported and has all the care she needs." But her agent has stepped in and said there is no relationship whatsoever. So,
I mean, that's interesting for the agent to come out and say that. That does feel a bit like
Bold.
really forcing the issue and I guess trying to get some sort of move away. But what I just find if there's no relationship and you don't want the player within the squad and the player doesn't want to be there, sell him. Like, why not? And I appreciate, obviously, JC went through a very difficult time earlier on this year. But, if both parties would be happier parting ways, this loan thing, I don't fully understand. I mean, like, it's like the Chloe Kelly thing.
I was literally going to
She's
say
hardly
that.
going to go back to Manchester City, is she?
Well, that it kind of feels like the relationship has gone beyond repair once you start speaking up about things like that. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what does happen. But yeah, thoughts and
It's a
to her
really
as
shit
well.
situation to be
Yeah.
in for her, and I can't imagine how difficult it is. You're in, foreign country. It's not your first language. There's so many things you have to get used to, and then when the thing you've come for and you've uprooted your whole life for isn't going well, it must be so hard.
God, yeah.
And now she's had difficulties off the pitch. That really tragic family situation. You're going to feel it's going to kind of compound that loneliness, I think, and I just hope she's all right.
100%. Yeah, sending thoughts to JC. No, it's a really tough situation, and to the other players as well, because they'll have been impacted and affected by what's happened too. So, yeah.